What's up, guys? It's Alph. It is the 24th of April, which means that today is day one of the NFL draft, and we are going to get a mock draft cooked up here. We're doing the whole first round. I don't know if tomorrow I will expand on this and post a full day two mock draft. Probably not. I don't know how much time I'm going to have. Uh, and their big board was updated an hour ago. So this is as recent as it's gonna get. Day of the draft. Cam Ward number one overall. I think this is consensus. I don't know if there's really a chance that he doesn't get picked to the Titans here, unless the Giants offer like two first round picks this year and next year to move to number one. And even then, I don't know if the Titans want to do that because quarterback's the hardest position to find, and I think Cam Ward's a pretty good one. And then the Browns at two are going to take Travis Hunter. They are shopping Greg Newsome in his contract year. Travis Hunter is, in my opinion, the third best player in the class. He fills a big need for them in that cornerback room if they do move on from Greg Newsome. And he also seemingly will play both sides of the ball if reports are correct. And then at three, the Giants are going to take Abdul. There's been a bunch of stuff about them taking a quarterback. Oh, Jackson Dart at three. No. There's no other first round quarterbacks in this class, and Cam Ward's not even really a player that I would take number one overall if I was in that scenario. Uh, and then at four, I'm gonna give the Patriots Armand Mimbo. I think he's the best offensive lineman in the class. He is a freak athlete. He's very productive on tape. I don't think he allowed a single QB hit all season last year. He's a very effective run blocker. He's got very good center of gravity. There is a slight length concern, but I think he is um, the best true tackle in the class. I don't think Will Campbell can stick at tackle because of the arm length. I think Kelvin Banks is good. I think Mimbo is better. If Josh Simmons was healthy, I would have him at this spot. But that injury is concerning. And then I am going to, with the Jaguars, take Ashton Genty. Um, Liam Cohen is there. And I think he's going to want to try and mold this offense into his image. And Ashton Genty can do that. Adam Schefter said that the Jaguars might be looking to shop ETN. I could see them making that move and then taking Genty. They might be able to get a day two pick out of ETN. Um, or they could keep him around and just have a really good running back duo. And then the Raiders at six. This is a tough one. This is typically your Ashton Genty spot. I am going to take Mason Graham. I think the fit on the interior D line is really good. You can put him next to Christian Wilkins. That helps free up Max Crosby. You have to double somebody of the three of them, and you can't double two people. I think they are going to want to invest as much as they can into the defensive line because there are concerns in that secondary. So they're going to want to get to the quarterback and stop the run. And then this is a good quarterback class in day two. There's guys like Savone Revel and Azaria Thomas and Ben Morrison, Darren Porter. These are all guys that I could see Pete Carroll liking. Um, and guys that I could see him wanting to put in that secondary, and getting a guy like Mason Graham in the first and then pairing that pick with one of those day two corners is an idea that I personally really like for the Raiders. And then you can see them getting possibly a third round running back, um, or even a day two running back and a day three or a third round corner. There's a ton of options for this Raiders team, and I think Mason Graham opens up their options more. And the Jets at 7 are another difficult spot to mock for. I'm thinking Kelvin Banks. I like his ability at tackle more than I like Will Campbell's ability at tackle. I think Will Campbell's the better player, but I think the Jets are going to value Kelvin Banks' length and the capability to play on that outside more than they're going to value the slight gap in um, ability with Will Campbell. The Panthers could use a corner. The Panthers could use help on the D line in whatever way they can get it. I'm thinking edge. I'm thinking corner. I am not 100% sold on that. I kind of feel like this could be a spot where a team might want to move up. And let's say Carolina and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh offers 21, a second next year, and probably a third next year. That's probably not enough, but I'm only doing one round. I'm not really here to watch out for value, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to jump the Saints for Shedeur Sanders. I don't think this is a very good pick. I think Sanders is a third round quarterback that's gonna get overdrafted. And the next best option for the Steelers would be to stick and pick at 21. Um, and if they were gonna do that, they might end up with Jalen Milroe starting for them at quarterback, and I don't really like that for them. And for the Saints, we're gonna take the Louisiana boy. We're gonna keep him there with Will Campbell. They just picked up Talis Fuanga last year. They have shown a want to protect the quarterback, and Will Campbell can do that. You could just put him at left guard, and I think he's a day one starter and an immediate contributor. And then for the Bears at 10, this is an odd one. This is sometimes a genty spot. You know what? I'm going to get funny. I'm going to take Tyler Warren to the Bears. He's the type of offensive weapon that I could see Ben Johnson utilizing really well. I um I am very high on Tyler Warren. He's a very good pass catcher. He runs routes well. He can carry the ball. He's got ability after the catch. And then here for the 49ers, I'm going to consider taking a D tackle. I'm going to take I'm going to take Derek Harmon. I think Derek Harmon is the third best interior defensive lineman in the class. I do have uh, a top 10 grade on Kenneth Grant, but that's not really consensus. People are lower on him than I am. And then here at 12 for the Cowboys, we're gonna do the thing where a team drafts a guy who played for their college team. I really like the fit of Matthew Golden in this Cowboys offense. I think Shoddy is a player like Matthew Golden. He's a very good deep threat. He makes good moves after the catch. He's got reliable hands. I think he's the second best receiver in the class. Um, Behind if you're putting Travis Hunter at receiver, and if you're not, I do think he's the best receiver in the class over Ted McMillan. And then the Dolphins at 13, I do think a Jalen Ramsey trade is going to get done. I think Will Johnson's best player available, and this team needs talent in whatever way they can get it. At this point, um, Johnson is the best corner in the class, even if you keep Travis Hunter at corner. I think he's a top three player in the class, and getting him at 13 is extremely good value. And then at 14, the Colts are going to take Colston Loveland. Loveland is an extremely good pass catcher with blocking upside. I think he could bulk up to about 260 with NFL strength coaching this offseason, and I don't think he would lose a single step. And then here, for the Falcons, I'm going to take an edge rusher. They need an edge rusher so bad. I'm going to take Michael Williams. I think he is the best edge available. He is a guy that is going to need some developing, but I don't think this Falcons team is looking to compete and go all in year one, so they can spend a year making Michael Williams the player that you want him to be. And then the Cardinals at 16 are a team that I could see a player like Tyler Booker going to. They are a team that I could see Gray Zabel going to. I do like the idea of taking an offensive lineman here or an edge rusher. Their pass rush was pretty debilitated. I like this edge class in the second and third round. I really like Braden Swinson and Femi Oladejo. I think Princely Uman is very good. I think David Walker's a very good option in early day three. I'm going to take an offensive lineman. I'm going to take Gray Zabel for the Cardinals. I think Zabel can play all of the positions on the interior. I think he can be an emergency tackle if you need that. Um, I really like Gray Zabel as a prospect, and I think a team at 18 is pretty sad to see him go off the board that early. And then here for the Bengals, they need help on their pass rush in any way they can get it. They have no pass rushing interior D tackles or nose tackles. I'm gonna take Walter Nolan for them. He fills a need. He's a good fit. I like him in that defense. Walter Nolan is a very intriguing pass rushing prospect. He's a really good athlete. He's very powerful. There are some technique concerns with him, but I think they are going to be able to coach him into being a force on that D line. And then the Seattle Seahawks are a tough spot to mock for me. There have been a ton of reports out of Seattle from beat reporters and stuff that said Gray Zabel and Tet McMillan are their two guys that if they're available at 18, it's not really a question of if they're going to take them or not. I don't know how much I believe that. I don't know if Seattle loves the way this board is falling for them. Um, If there is a team that I think would want to move up for Tedero McMillan, it would be the Packers. The Packers really need. We're just gonna overpay, so this will go through. I think I can just offer this. Yeah, and then the Packers are gonna take Ted McMillan. The Packers need a wide receiver one and a guy that they can play on the outside that can be an X receiver for them. I think Tedero McMillan is that. I really like Tedero McMillan's ability to win at the catch point, and I think that would be very, very good for a quarterback like Jordan Love who likes making those dangerous throws. And then the Buccaneers at 19 could use a pass rusher after losing Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. They could use linebacker help. I'm going to take Jalen Walker. I think Jalen Walker is close to a top 10 player in this class. I like him more at linebacker than I like him at edge, but he's one of those guys that you shouldn't really keep at one spot, and that you should move around. I'm thinking receiver for the Broncos. This is often a Colston Loveland spot, but he's not on the board. This is a Omarion Hampton spot, but I think they would be happy with a Quinshon Judkins in the second round. One of these three guys is likely to make it to their pick, in my opinion. I'm going to take Luther Burden. I think Luther Burden's ability after the catch is something that Sean Payton is really, really going to like. There were a ton of plays that they had drawn up last year where they got a screen going and the screen was going very well and the blockers got to their place and there was a hole and they didn't have a guy that was good enough after the catch to make the play out of that, and Luther Burden is absolutely capable of making that play. And then here for the Panthers, it's probably edge rusher. I could see them taking Shamar Stewart just because he is an extremely good athlete. I think this is a fine spot for Shamar Stewart. Um, the production for the sack production is obviously not where you would love it to be, but the ability as a run defender is there. I think his floor is slightly higher than people think it is. The technique isn't something to behold, but I don't think the Panthers are taking a pick that's going to raise their floor. They're taking a pick that's going to raise their ceiling. They could take a guy like Donovan Ezeraku, who has a very, very high floor, but the ceiling isn't exactly what you would want it to be. Shamar Stewart has absurd potential. It's the question is, can you help him unlock that? And then the Chargers are just gonna not overthink it. They're gonna take Omarion Hampton. I really like Omarion Hampton for this type of offense. They have Najee Harris. I don't think Najee Harris is really anything at this point. For the Seahawks at 23, I'm thinking Nick Manwari or Kenneth Grant. I really like Kenneth Grant. I'm gonna make that the pick. Um, they just released Cam Young, who was at this point in the cycle their number two nose tackle. Um, you could take Kenneth Grant and you could start him at nose tackle, and then that would move Byron Murphy out to his actual position at the three tech, and that would make him significantly more effective. Kenneth Grant is an insanely capable run defender out of the gate with, in my opinion, a very underrated pass rush bag. He doesn't just win with his power, his speed and his agility are insane for a guy his size. And Mike McDonald is going to go crazy at the prospect of getting Kenneth Grant on this D line. The Vikings are in a tough spot. The Vikings do not have a lot of picks this year. I am going to have them moving out of the first round with the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if this is something that I think is actually going to happen. We're going to give him 4 picks in exchange for 2. And you know what? What the freak, man? You can't just let my trade go through. It's an awful trade, I know. Like, let it happen, dude. Come on. You know what? If the simulator is going to be boring, then I'm just going to add way too much and I'm going to force it to happen. I'm just going to do the exact offer that I had previously and I'm going to give you that first next year so that you will let the trade go through because you're being annoying. But the idea with this is the Vikings want more picks in the later rounds, in day 2 and in day 3. They get that. They add 4 picks and they lose 2. This first doesn't exist. Ignore that. The Vikings are a spot where I could see them moving down out of the first round, like a team like the Bills did last year. Um, Obviously, this is a bit of a different scenario than that. And then here at 24, I'm going to make a pick on the offensive line. I'm debating on whether I should take Josh Simmons or Donovan Jackson. I like Simmons more as a player. The health is concerning. Um, I'm going to take Josh Simmons. I think Josh Simmons, no injury, is a top 5 player in the class. Seattle gets 2 picks back to back, and they beef up the trenches. This is just kind of fun. I don't think it's very realistic, but I think that the idea of that is enjoyable, and that's at the end of the day what I'm here for. And then at 25, we're taking Donovan Jackson for the Houston Texans. Donovan Jackson is one of my guys in this class. He's an incredible mover in space. He's a very capable run blocker. He is a guy who played left guard for multiple years at Ohio State, put on very good tape, and then when Josh Simmons went down, Jackson moved out to tackle and proved that, hey, I'm very capable at this. I really, really think Donovan Jackson's a first round player. I have Donovan Jackson in my top 20. Donovan Jackson is from Houston. I really think they're going to want to have that reunion. The Texans really need O-line help. They know that. And this is a very, very good pick for them. For the Rams here, I'm not going to overthink the pick. They need some help in that receiver room from out of the slot. I think McVay is really going to like the idea of adding Emeka Egbuka to this offense. You have Devontae Adams on one side, Puka Nacua on the other side, and Emeka Egbuka in the middle. That is a dangerous, dangerous wide receiver threat. And secondaries in the NFC West are going to see this, and they're going to be like, how the hell do we cover all 3 of them at once? The Rams defense looked very, very good to end the season last year. Adding Emeka Egbuka to this offense in the slot makes them significantly more explosive. It gives Matthew Stafford another receiving option. I really, really like the fit in a McVay style offense. Overall, just a pick that I really could see happening. And as a fan of a team in the NFC West, it's terrifying. And then here for the Ravens, I really am considering Malachi Starks. I think he's the best safety in the class. I like his ability in this defense, in this style of defense that the Ravens run. I think he would be a very, very good player next to Kyle Hamilton on that secondary. And then here for the Lions, I am going to take Donovan Ezaraku. There are some guys here that you're like, why are you leaving these guys out? Like Mike Green and James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. has an extensive list of character concerns that really, really worry me and a lot of other people. And I don't think he is going to get taken in the first round. A lot of the coaches that he worked with at Tennessee were like, hey, we're very happy that this guy is out of the locker room. And that's really not what teams are going to want to see out of their first round pick, is a guy that's going to devolve your locker room. The Washington Commanders moved on from Jonathan Allen during this offseason. I don't know whether or not they are going to want to take a defensive lineman because their struggles in the secondary last year, and it's very difficult for me to see where Jahdae Barron goes at this point in the class. He's not gonna be coming to Washington. They just drafted Mikey Sainer still in the second last year, who is a nickel corner, and I don't think Barron has the length to play on the outside. I really like Barron's ability as a nickel, but I don't like his ability on the outside. Trey Amos is a guy whose ability I love on the outside. I think he's got the highest floor of any corner in this class, honestly. He would fit the Dan Quinn defense. He is a guy with very high character. I think Dan Quinn's going to value that. He has years of good tape. I think Trey Amos is a first round pick. I think he's going to be very, very good for whatever team picks him for a very long time. And for the Bills, this is another spot that I am not sure on. I'm going to pull the trigger on Jahdae Barron. The Bills have Teron Johnson in the nickel. Do I think that Barron has a chance to play on the outside? I do. I do think it is an odd fit, obviously, into that defense, but that's a good enough player that I think you pick and you make it work because you got a very, very good player at a spot where he shouldn't have been. And then the Chiefs are a spot where I'm going to take Josh Connerly Jr. I really like Connerly at tackle. I also really like Connerly at guard. I think you could start him at left tackle day one. You could put him at left guard and put Kingsley Suamataia out at left tackle. But it seems like from the reports that I'm seeing, Kingsley is going to play left guard for them. So I do think that Connerly should be in play at 31. And then at 32, Nickam falls to the Eagles. It's kind of terrifying to think about that. They just lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and then they replaced him with, like, the greatest athlete we've ever seen at the safety position. Let's download that. This is the mock draft. Take one good look at it. I'm going to be streaming the draft tonight at 7:45 Eastern Time. I'll be on for the entire draft. It'll be a great time. I'll see you guys there. I'll put a link to that in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.